Hey everyone, Bryant here. We're about to play a Legacy Constructed League, and you'll notice that this is deck version 3.9. You'll know that because we have a green splash, 2 Xantid Swarms, 3 Abrupt, Decay, and a Bayou. And one of the features of 3.9 is that we still have 2 basic lands, which previous deck lists in the past with green did not have. Other than that, you'll notice there's 2 copies of Empty the Horns, which is not terribly uncommon, but a newer thing for the green list to have. We're currently waiting on an opponent, so we're going to talk about a couple other things. One, you'll notice that I use a different Empty the Horns art for the one I like to board in because I like to know whether or not it was relevant. It helps gauge that. Other than that, you'll notice that we have 3 Bloodstained Mires and 1 Scalding Tarn for our secondary fetch lands. This is because of Bayou. Not because Island is less important, but we do sideboard out Ponder a lot, which makes sense because we're going to want more black sources if we're setting out our blue spells. So, can't argue too much against that. Other than that, this list is pretty stock, and let's see if we have an opponent yet. We do not. Other than that, that's pretty much it. So, oh, and we have our first opponent. Here we go. One moment as I put this into my spreadsheet. And we did not win the die roll. Our opponent in the past has played Mono Red Sneak Attack. This is a matchup where we really wanted to be on the play. But we have 2 discard spells and an ad nauseam with the lines that I'm in. I think this is a keep regardless. Volcanic Island. Maybe they're on Sneak and Show, which this hand is a lot better against. We're going to start out by playing a land and then Gitaxian Probe. We do this because if they have duplicates, we want to hit them with Cabal Therapy. And they have a pretty strong hand. And I imagine that our opponent will force will this. Our opponent opened up with a pretty strong hand. They have a turn 2 Show and Tell into Omniscience into Force Will. Well, into Emrakul with a Force Will backup, which is pretty much the best you can ask for in this matchup. Ooh! They removed Omniscience. It's a little ballsy in my opinion. Well, it turns out they didn't have a second land, which is beneficial for us because now we can play our Duress. Otherwise, we would have had to draw +2 mana for Telemann Performance into Griselbrand in order to win. So it looks like we caught a lucky break there. Cast our Duress. Hopefully had a Show and Tell. They have Emrakul, Show and Tell, and Unknown. Sneak Attack. They have to have a soul land in order to play Sneak Attack and activate next turn. So I'm going to take the Show and Tell. And they bottom both of their cards off their Preordain. Chantel's also a blue card for what it's worth, so it doesn't pitch to Force of Will if he were to take Sneak Attack. So we have two decisions on our turn. We can play Empty the Warrens and Flashback Cabal Therapy, or we can tell them performance and hope to hit a Gristlebrand. Okay, so we didn't hit what we needed to in order to be able to play Telemann Performance, so we almost have to play the Empty the Warrens line, which is kind of unfortunate. We're going to be giving our opponent a lot of time to come back. Because 5 goblins is a 4-turn clock, so they're going to have 4 turns to draw into Gristlebrand or Emrakul. And that is why. So if we had hit the 2 mana, we would have hit Gristlebrand off of a Telemann Performance on the previous turn. Maybe not, because I forgot the Shuffle trigger from Emrakul. And we lost game 1. So in this matchup, we want to bring in Xantid Swarms and Chain of Vapors for Leyline of Sanctity. We board out the island, and then we board out Ponders. I'm going to check the recent sideboard guide, because I don't remember if I'm supposed to board out the Empty the Warrens or not. I believe I am. Alright, we're going to board back in 2 Ponders. We're going to take out a Chromox and an Empty. This is a decent hand. Turn 1 Leyline, pretty good. I'm just going to pass. There's nothing we can really do with our hand that's beneficial. Like, we could have played Chromox and printing Red of Flame for Empty, but then we can't even cast Empty turn 2, and we have a low storm count. So if we had cast the Burning Wish on turn 1, we would have hit the mana source we needed to, but we would have only been able to make 6 goblins. We kind of just have to hope our opponent doesn't have a whole lot. The classic upkeep Brainstorm. It's a very strange one. So it's better to remove Duress in this scenario than Cabal Therapy, because you can use Cabal Therapy to become Hellbent. But also, if we just happen to draw Chain of Vapor, it pairs better with Cabal Therapy. I can't imagine what our opponent's hand is. Like, they didn't have any counter magic, and they're still cantripping. Through the Breach? Our opponent has conceded the game. That is a strange one. Alright, we're not going to change anything about our deck. I believe this hand is a mulligan. It just doesn't do quite enough. You would need a lot of things to go right in order for this hand to be a winner. Okay, this is where we're at. And they don't have a ley line this game, which is good news. Come on, Cabal Therapy. You don't really want Chain of Vapor since they don't have ley lines, so we're gonna put that back. see if they spell pierce this. If they don't, we get a copy of Lotus Petal and we're okay with that because it's a shuffle effect. Yeah, that worked out. Okay then. Cast Ponder. This is interesting. What I like about this is that we can sack the Xantid Swarm to the therapy in order to hit the Emrakul, and we just burn a Lotus Petal to do it. I imagine that they'll spell pierce. So we know that they have Emrakul, Pyroclasm, and 2 unknowns. It's not bad. It was actually a decent brainstorm just because the probe. Yeah, we definitely want to use the Swarm this turn to hit the Emrakuls. Actually, it'd be better to... Yeah, I'm going to do it this way. Because we can resolve Talisman Performance next turn. So it looks like we're going to be getting an Emrakul with our Talisman Performance. Hopefully they didn't draw Show and Tell. Part of me thinks our opponent should force above this just so we don't have information on their hand. So they had 2 forces. I don't know what the last cards in their hand are. If it's Spell Pierce, that's unfortunate, but play to what we have. Ooh, we hit a Gristle. We'll draw 7. We have not played a land yet. What's funny is we could actually flashback Cabal Therapy with Griselbrand. We're going to name Emrakul just because I'm pretty sure they have one. I don't think I've ever sacrificed Griselbrand to Cabal Therapy before. That was kind of fun. And I'm going to mark that down as a Telemann performance victory. And hopefully we get our second opponent fairly soon. And here we go. GSY, I've faced them before. Apparently 5 other times. They like blue decks. And they are on the play. Our hand is fine, especially against blue decks. Generally lots of Delver. They were once playing Storm and then once playing Grixis. If they are playing Grixis, you want to lead off on basics. I'm going to stack this so I don't have 2 copies of Cabal Therapy in hand, just in case it is the Storm Mirror. And it is in fact Grixis Delver. Hopefully they don't have a stifle here. But in order for us to continue with this game, we need, you know, to play into it a little. Brainstorm into Daze, maybe? I will take that. So Empty the Horns is not going to be good in this game now. Third Cabal Therapy. Lovely. So this is actually interesting because we're going to put Ad Nauseam on top of our library. We're going to put it 2 down. We're going to name Forcible. And we hit. And then we're going to hold Control and Ponder. And we're going to add 3 red. What we could have done there is emptied, but even empty could be pretty dangerous against that. We're going to want to keep a red flame because we normally do anyway, but we absolutely want to because we have a Burning Wish on top. And at this point, all we want is mana. Empty was not a good reveal. This is one of the worst Ad Nauseams ever. Alright, well, we have to reveal a 0 mana artifact now. Or I guess a Dark Ritual would also do it, but this is terrible. Or we could stop and brainstorm. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 3 cards left in our deck that kill us. And we've played a land. I'm going to do one more reveal. Okay. We're all in on this brainstorm. Which was terrible anyway. That's really sad that we didn't win that. Okay. So we bring in the extra empty and take out a wish. So we would have had an empty for 16 there against 2 Delvers and a Death Ray. If those Delvers flip, they can deal us 11 next turn. We attack, they don't die. So it was pretty risky either way because they had a Bolt in hand. This is a fine hand. Grafdigger's Cage. So, like, you kind of want to take Brainstorm here, but the issue is that your hand just doesn't do anything if we have to sit and try to play around Forcible. You kind of just have to let them keep 2 Brainstorms and hope that they don't find another in order to stop you. and our opponent shuffled. So once again, we can do a line involving ad nauseam. But I'm going to play this one a little safer. We're going to put ad nauseam on top, along with probe. We're going to play around days in case they drew one. And they did. The line that I wanted to take would have also lost to days. Or, I mean, if we didn't play it safe. So that worked out well. Okay, let's see what we can do. Crack our lines of diamond for 3 black. Stifle. I think our opponent should have dazed there. We have to keep revealing even though there's another empty in our deck, because if we don't, we just lose. These ad nauseams this match have not been very good. We still get a land drop, so I'm going to stop here. So instead of using a discard spell to discard days, we're just going to keep going with our plan, because it's cutting us off a colored resource if we want to discard it, where now we can just pay a red that we don't necessarily need. And I might have messed up a little bit there, because I should have put back the swamp, because we have our 2 black sources in play, and this can't get a black. So that was a mistake on me. Otherwise we... No, because we still have to play around days. And the deck bailed us out. Get tendrils. So that, in my opinion, that should have been the round. But we're going into game 3. And you'll notice both those games, so we revealed the main deck empty the warrants and not the one that we boarded in. This is a pretty solid hand. I like this. And just to note, our opponent does have Stifle. So what we would have wanted to draw there was something along the lines of Lotus Petal. We're okay with playing Duress here because we still have more discard spells in our hand. Normally I recommend waiting until you can play around days, but this is a situation where it's okay. That was actually a fine draw, but we're just going to pass because our opponent's representing Stifle or Fluster. I think we might have a Cabal Therapy coming at us. Nope, just the Death Ray Shaman. Okay. In our upkeep, we want to fetch, so that way if they Stifle, we get a Storm count. We're actually going to get non-basic, so it helps us play around more stuff. That was a fine draw. Okay. I wasn't expecting that, but I'm glad we got a red source now. It's quite the hand. Let's see if they force this. That was very bold. Why wouldn't they force that? We're still going to name Force of Will, because with days we can pay for Lionside Diamond. And we're not going to pay. Because if they have a sweeper on top of their deck, we don't want to flat out lose. Where this gives us another opportunity to combo later. Our opponent is likely dead. What they would want to do is remove our Cabal Therapy in combat. But let's see if they do it. They did. So it's kind of funny that in this situation, Stifle does not stop us. Shit, I held the wrong control button again. And our opponent conceded. We got lucky. I mean, we would have won that game anyway, but I was an idiot and held the wrong control. It's been happening to me a couple times today. I'm not used to playing on the PC side of my Mac. On to round 3. While we wait. So there isn't anything I think I'd change about 3.9. In fact, I'm incredibly happy with this list at the moment. Some people have commented about how they'd like a 7th discard spell over the 4th Burning Wish. I find that every time I do that, I end up wanting more business. Like, discard spells are fine, but I think people overvalue them sometimes, where Burning Wish is a much better top deck in a lot of games. Spicy Chicken 420. And we won the die roll. In Modern, they play Valakut. That is the only known information. But this hand is pretty good. I would definitely keep this. Our opponent is mulligan down to 5. I'm going to search up Underground Sea. Wasteland would be bad here, but I just have a feeling they don't have one. If they do, it happens. They're on a mid-range deck. Looks like junk. That was a good draw. Hold control this time. I would not want to search up a copy of Brainstorm. Get everyone's favorite instant. What's nice about this is we have 2 mana floating, but we also still have a land drop. So we have a theoretical 4 mana with the Lotus Petal. Might as well stop there. And this is all just fun stuff. So against this deck, they likely have some hate creatures, so we're going to bring in bounce spells. And Abrupt Decay. We're going to take out all 6 of our discard spells. Just because decks like this, you don't really know what to name with Cabal Therapy, and Duress is sort of weak anyway. You'd rather just have good cards in general. Like, for all we know, they could be boarding into Chalice of the Voids. And we're just waiting on our opponent. The same seems fine. It's very resilient to discard spells, at least. Our opponent is once again mulliganed to 5. I wonder if they have a surgical extraction. If that's why they took the Burning Wish. Thalia? We're gonna get Badlands. Him and Deluge. We're not going to play Infernal Tutor here because if our other is hit by Hymn to Torok, we don't want to lose our ability to combo off. So ideally here they'd hit like 1 tutor, 1 land. I'm just going to destroy the Death Right. Death Right is kind of a nuisance here because they have Toxic Deluge, so Empty is shut off. And we can't use Rite of Flames efficiently with it in play. And they did not remove the Rite of Flame in the graveyard. They chose to remove Burning Wish, which is interesting. That was not a draw we wanted. We're just going to pass the turn. The reason I didn't play Infernal Tutor there is that if our other is discarded, I still want a tutor in hand. We're going to bounce that. Interesting draw. Unfortunately, I don't see us winning the game through the Toxic Deluge with this. So at this point, I'm going to search up the last Rite of Flame. If they draw a discard spell here, it's going to be very frustrating. Because if we had one more black mana, we could do a Past in Flames loop, but we needed another black for that. So on our following turn, as long as we can stay Hellbent. What is this? Leyline. Okay. Which is interesting because it shuts off our Past in Flames plan. I think I'm just going to pass again. Because if we draw another black spell or a black land, we can add Nauseam. Sure, you have a Dark Confidant. The worst! Part of me wonders if we should go for it now. We're going to do something. I think ultimately what it's going to be is just a huge grape shot, but we'll see. My impatience could bite us right now. To be honest, I thought we would have made more red than that, but it makes sense. There's so many things I could have done this turn differently. Like, I could have imprinted here so I could Ad Nauseam next turn. And the Passing Flames line doesn't work because we're going to go down to 4 mana and the cast Passing Flames with only a Badlands and an island open, or Badlands and a red mana floating. Which just, like, isn't good enough. So, I was definitely too anxious here. I should have just played more conservatively. What is the play? I don't even know what it is. I just played this game very poorly. So what I can do is I can cast technically I have an out of hitting exactly Burning Wish off a probe and grape shotting them to like 4, but I'd have to be pretty lucky. Yeah, I'd be on crack Lion's Eye Diamond for 3 red and then draw exactly 2 of my cards in my deck. may have played a land. So we're going to pass. That was really dumb of me. I should have just been more patient. Burning Wish isn't even great here. I'm just going to concede. I played so bad that game. Alright, we're going to try this. Hopefully they... Yeah, I wanted them to take Burning Wish. Lion's Eye Diamond was probably the correct choice there. We could have played Lion's Eye Diamond out on turn 1, but it would have made less goblins on this turn, and I feel like that's just wrong. They also had Zealous Persecution. So I guess it's fortunate that we didn't go all in on turn 1, but we would have saw it anyway with the probe. We're just going to pass. Good draw. Come on, ad nauseum. So we're not going to crack the fetch line because if we draw a Ponder or Brainstorm, we're going to want to be able to shuffle. Our opponent is playing very slow. I'm just going to hold the Chain of Vapor for now. So they have Zealous Persecution and X in hand. That's good. Next turn, we're going to try to Ad Nauseam. Glad I held that Chain of Vapor. I might actually want that Burning Wish on top of our library at this point. See if we have enough mana to do everything we want this turn. I think we're gonna... No, we have exactly enough. I thought we might have been one short, but I think we have exactly enough. Get 10 drills. So we should have won this 2-0. But, I played like crap in the second game, and then game 3, things kind of just went our way. Let's not play that poorly again. So we're just waiting on another opponent. Still waiting on an opponent. In the meantime, you guys should check out Tiger's Jaw Charmer. That's what I'm listening to right now. It's a really good fucking album. Just saying. I currently just noticed a formatting issue on this site I need to fix. It will be done before this video is uploaded. It's in the sideboard guide. There's something that isn't italicized and has its own paragraph tag when it shouldn't. This is a very long time to be waiting for an opponent. But on the bright side, we're on track for one of those 5-0s, as the kids call them. Oh, we have an opponent. This guy plays Belcher. And in this matchup, the die roll is very important, so I'm glad we got it. This hand is in decent Belcher hand. If this draws Lion's Eye Diamond, we win, but we also have Brainstorm off Petal for disruption or more mana. My opponent is currently chatting me about which deck is the most degenerate. That answer is Belcher. But TES, it's not the most degenerate because it plays cards that actually interact with our blue opponents, where Belcher does not. He's got a whole bunch of Burning Wishes. I think I'm actually okay if he wants to play Empty the Horns against me. I'm feeling a little greedy. We got there. We're going to put back the Rite of Flame, so that way, if we somehow fail, our opponent doesn't get the extra mana off it. Hold control. And we're going to add red. It's a very small box it created. Some artifact mana would be nice. There we go. I think it's safe to stop there. And that is how you outbelch the belch. Is he going to make me click through all of them? Not a gentleman. Not a gentleman at all. Oh, apparently I haven't been updating the record on this, so we are currently 3-0. My apologies, I should have been updating that. So we board out Empty, and then to hedge against their own element performance, we side in Xantid Swarm. That's all I would do. This hand isn't the fastest, but it has lines at diamond. I would keep. Just hope that they go for goblins. Nope, I'm getting belched. And we're off to game 3. The right side is that we get to be on the play this game. See if we can have a 3-turn match. Yeah, this is a 3-turn match. It's pretty cool. I find this pretty amusing, as long as I don't somehow screw this up, that a 3-turn match is about to happen. So one of the nice things about this is with no empty in our deck, we can go down to 2 without the risk of dying. But we're going to stop there because there's no reason to go down to 2, because in the future it lets our opponents know how we sideboarded. And those are the kind of things that I think of. The gentleman we're playing against is also in the Leaving a Legacy Facebook group, and we had a conversation this week about how we seem to face each other all the time. Alright, let's see if we can get one of those lucrative 5-0s. Update our record. But yeah, listen to Tiger's Jaw. They're great. It's probably good for your health if you do. They're a band from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I saw them about a month ago with my girlfriend. It was a great time. They played with another terrific band that I think had the best album of 2017, The Menzingers After the Party. It's a fucking terrific album from to back. It's great. I can't say enough good things. Check it out. Something that I find sort of interesting is I'm looking at the camera, and it appears that the room is fairly well lit when it's actually pretty dark in here, outside of the monitor from my computer. Mo Mane, our 5th round opponent. And we won another die roll, which is good for us. I have not faced this person before. It's a pretty good hand. I'll keep this. Let's get that 5-0. So we're going to keep blindside diamond on top. What this does is it allows us to not get wrecked by Cabal Therapy. And I was hoping that they were on elves. So, what are the odds that they have Force Blue card in hand? We're going to cast Ponder. And Shuffle. I was really just looking for a discard spell or a probe, where now I think that we should probably go for it. Because I think if we wait a turn, our odds get a lot worse. Because they can play things like Ponder into Probe, or Ponder into Force of Will. And we can actually outplay a Daze here. Hold control. So if they have Force, they have Force. And they do. I'm just going to concede, and then I would like to look at the top 4 cards to see if waiting a turn would have been relevant. So it could have been, but on the same time we could have been hit by Hymn to Torok or whatever. But it's just interesting to think about what would have happened if we had waited. So we're going to bring that extra empty. It also, one thing to notice, they might not be Grixis Delver, they might actually be Bug Delver, based on the Verdant Catacombs. And if they're Bug Delver, there's a pretty good chance that they have Hymn to Torok. And game 2. This hand is fine. That is almost perfect. So our opponent thought a lot about whether or not they should fetch or not. So they either have Hymn to Torok, or they have Flusterstorm and Force, or something along those lines. So I think I actually would like to wait a turn before I empty the Warrens. If we get hit by Hymn to Torok, that's going to be pretty unfortunate. But I think they likely have something that's pretty bad for us. It's interesting because if we had duressed, they could have hit a sweeper on top. Let's hope for no hymns. Yeah, they're definitely on Bug Delver. They chose to shuffle off Ponder. That's good. Let's see if they're playing Stifle. Two pairs, 2 days of Flusterstorm. So they did have a Flusterstorm on turn 1. Liliana's kind of an interesting card. In order to play around the 2 days, we're actually going to imprint the therapy here. Otherwise, it could lead to us risking not being able to empty this turn. Being able to... It would have been nice to be able to cast the Cabal Therapy on the previous turn, but the odds of them dazing and us being caught up with not having the proper colored mana for daze would have been pretty bad for us. Because it would have been awesome if we could have flashed back Cabal Therapy and hit their Pair of Ponder. And they shuffled once again off Ponder. So they're going to get at least 2 more turns because we're swinging, they're going to take 9. Next turn they're going to block, and then they go to 1, but also they can play Liliana, make us sack. From the previous match. So they have 2 dazes. I wonder what they're playing here. Another Termaglyph? Okay. I think we can still win through that. So they're going to take 7 going to 2. And then, yeah, we have enough blockers next turn to plow through. It's looking like there's going to be game 3 as long as they don't draw a sweeper effect. They would have to come up with a way for 5 blockers or an extra blocker and a pair of removal spells, which seems unlikely. Alternatively, they could go like land Liliana, discard, block, gain 2, but that would be a lot of resources. Alright, the final game. Let's see if we can get there. And we have the sideboard empty. This is a turn 1, empty the warrens, which is pretty good. Hopefully they just play like a ponder turn 1. So far, so good. And our opponent did not shuffle. So they have 2 Force of Will, and a Hymn to Torok, and a Flusterstorm. This hand is very good against us. But I think we might be able to beat it. So I think I'm going to Ponder here and try to get them to Force of Will the Ponder. I'm going to shuffle. They have to force this. Yeah. That sucked. I mean, we tore each other's hands apart. We're about to get hit by Hymn to Torok. The shuffle there off of the Ponder was right, because I thought about keeping the Lotus Petal, but we used the Lotus Petal to get there, so I don't think that they would have force willed another Lotus Petal. And then we would have been stuck with 2 cards we didn't want on top. So I don't think we know the last card in their hand. It's a good one. Yeah, we don't know the card in their hand still. I mean, we almost won first turn through double Forcible. That's pretty interesting. Why were they sandbagging the Wasteland for so long? That doesn't make any sense. Alright, we're back in this. We just need to draw some mana. Marsh Casualties, that could have been bad. So our best draw right now is Rite of Flame. If we draw Rite of Flame, I think we might be able to win this. Alright, just give us a land. It's unfortunate. Oh, it's super risky. If we pay life, we lose. I think the line here would be to pay mana. They have another force. And we would have hit the land we needed, or the mana source. Hopefully they didn't draw a blue card. I think we actually want the Infernal Tutor in the graveyard. Did our opponent draw a blue card? Maybe not. I don't even know if we win from here. It's going to require some luck, I think. I played land this turn. Yep. It's all up to this probe. If this probe hits Burning Wish, I still can't win. No, if the probe hits Burning Wish, I have exactly enough mana to win. Fuck. Oh well, we came close to a 5-0. If we had gone for it last turn, we still would have fizzled. We just have to hope our opponent like F6 through their turn at this point, I think. That's like our out. Okay. So we went 4-1. That's fine. So, thanks for watching, everyone. Hopefully I'll do more of these in the future. You almost got that 5-0, it just didn't quite happen. You got pretty close. That was it. So, yeah, stay tuned.